Hello, and thank you for joining me. You're here with Data Science Teacher Brandyn, and we're going to learn how to make pandas an interactive plot like we can with Plotly. So it's actually really easy to use, but a little bit difficult if you're not familiar with Plotly Express, as it uses a similar syntax. So we'll go through that today in a bar plot in pandas in our interactive bar plot. Okay? So first we're going to import pandas and import our data sets. Just using a Penguins data sets. I like this data set. It's really just super simple. A few categories, and three categories, and four numeric features. So some of those. The way that we're gonna make the magic happen, do this special thing, is we're gonna call pandas.option.plotting.backend. And notice there's no parentheses here. This is just an attribute. I'm gonna be changing what this attribute is. I'm gonna say plotly. And now this is going to give me access to the plotting function. So this is an intentional use case. So it is meant to work this way. Pandas has this backend so that we can add, so that other companies, other plotting libraries can add their stuff to Pandas plot. So Pandas basically sits on top of the underlying engine, which in this case we're using the Plotly. Okay. So the way that we'll do this, very similar to get started, we're going to do a couple columns here. We're just going to get the mean of this. So this would just be two numbers. It would be this value and the mean of this value. We go dot mean dot plot, and notice that I'm not calling parentheses here. I'm just doing dot plot and then dot bar. It's a little bit different than how we would normally use the pandas syntax, but this is again with the plotly, the slight differences that we need to use to work with the plotly line. Okay? And so here we're just doing bar, and we're not giving it any arguments, so it's just going to plot these two values. Okay. So if you notice this, we look at this. Oh, now we got our two bars. We got the mean bill length and the mean bill depth. And we can see now we can inspect this a little bit more. We have our interactive feature here. We can do things like select it and then only get this. At this simple level, it doesn't really make sense. If we select it and we want to reset it, you just go to this home or this little house option and reset axes. Okay. What we're gonna do here, if you notice this, it's really big by default. This is way too big. I find it's always way too big. It will probably depend on your monitor, but it is just always really big for me. Okay. So what I do here is I usually create kind of these arguments that I'll pass to all of my plots ahead of time. This is different than the fixed size argument in plot, in pandas, in Seaborn, in matplotlib, because it's just not based on them, right? So we have to kind of it's one of the plotting libraries that has nothing to do with matplotlib. So it is a different way that we control most of the options. So that's just something to be aware of. But here we're going to set the width and the height, and this has to do with pixels this time. I'm also going to set a dictionary up for the margin size, so the top, the left, the right, the bottom. Give it a little bit of space because you can see there's quite a bit of white space. It's just too much, truthfully. So what we're going to do is we'll do the same plot again, and we're going to pass them to the bar. These are arguments you've never seen in pandas because they're not really pandas. They're more of plotly's arguments, right? So we're going to set the width and the height right here. We're going to change the title. And when we do, so notice that we're assigning this to an object. So assigning this to a figure object. And then we're going to update the layout. And then we're going to go not plt.show, big.show. So it's, again, it's similar, but a little bit different. Okay? So we create our plot. We're going to update it with the margin dictionary. And then we're going to give it a title as well in the update layout. Okay, this is different than calling plt.title. Here we'll give our title to the update layout. And then for this, you can get a more reasonable size here. And now you can see I did all four features this time. You can see here it's pretty tiny. Like this one is really small. We wouldn't be able to see this, but now we have this interactive feature. We can actually go in and inspect. Okay, well that one looks pretty small, but what was that? It's not 0. It's 17. Okay, and you can see the big. So this allows. It is very handy to have this extra plotting feature, especially with it's easy to use like it is with Pandas. Okay, so another way to do this is just showing what a group by object would look like. We're going to group by on the data frame. We're going to group by sex, so male, female, and then get the three numeric categories from this one. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. So this is what it will look like. This is going to be our data frames. The sex is the index. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group by again and do those three options: dot plot, dot bar, our width and height, and then calling our update layout and our fixed size. And now you'll notice it looks nice, but really we have male and female. I actually kind of really would want male and female to be different colors in the bar for each one of these. So male bill length would have its own bar and then be separated by male and female. It won't work like that. It's not an extra column that we have at this point. It's now the index. So what we can do is we can go the exact same plot rate that we have, the same group by object. We'll go dot t on it. So we're going to transpose. We're just going to tilt to the side. So now male and female is two different columns, and they'll be plotted on top of each other like this. So we get female and male. So you can see really the difference. You can see male flipper length is 204 and female is a little bit smaller. It looks very close, but they look a little bit smaller here at 1.79. You can go in and inspect the details of each one of these. Okay. Going a step further, we can do something called, we can kind of split these up. So if you don't want to see them just on top of each other like a stacked bar plot, we can split them up so each bar plot has its own plot. Very similar to what we would do in Pandas, except how we do it is completely different. So what we're going to do, the way that we'll do this, we're doing everything the same that we just did up here with the transpose. So male and female are two separate columns. And we're going to say facet size equals row sex. So we're going to change this. So now sex, instead of just being in the same column, we're going to say actually change the rows, the facets, kind of like the facet grid in Seaborn, that each one's going to be in its different boxes. We need two rows, one for each category, or the two. So you see here's the female one, and here's the male one. Okay. Really handy feature getting all of this flexibility. This is very simple at the bar plot level, but as we explore this, we'll find a lot more fun and interesting ways to use Plotly and Pandas together. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.